I recently heard a quote and I would like to share it with all of you. And it goes like this: you can't hate and understand someone at the same time. I heard this quote from a YouTube video with Alex Hormozi, who stated this to Chris Williamson on the Modern Wisdom podcast. I did some further research because I really was intrigued by this quote. And it goes, when you really know somebody, you can't hate them. Or maybe it's just that you can't really know them until you stop hating them. I want you to think about that quote for a second. How does that resonate with you? How does that change your perspective on others and the world around you? For me, it goes back to the famous phrase or famous quote, you cannot judge a book by its cover. The cover may be ugly, the cover may be weird and undesirable, but underneath that cover are the beautiful pages that may seem that culminate into what that cover actually is. It's the experiences, it's the values, their early childhood, the beliefs, their environment, which all help to create that one cover. All those pages, essentially. Now, as masculine men, we must come to understand that everyone is unique in their own way, and everyone is suffering from their own problems internally without telling anyone else. So, when we go and meet new people out in the real world and we interact with them, the first instance, your initial judgments of them may be that they're particularly aggressive, that they tend to blame others, or they blame themselves. They like to victimize themselves for problems, or they might be overly nice or overly kind. All of these traits have multiple layers to why they actually why you perceive those people that way. So for example, one person was really aggressive, and they always started arguments so they started an argument when you started making a conversation with them. Don't take it as a way to incite how you're better than the other person, especially in an argument. What you want to do is have an open mind into truly understanding why that person is acting in that aggressive way and is starting an argument, so that we can have a better grasp on why they are doing these things and how we should be towards them, how we should behave towards those kinds of people. So in the example I just stated of that aggressive person who you just first met, perhaps they had gone through some traumatic experience early on in their childhood that may have sparked this aggressive, this evil, this violent demeanor that which they emit to the world around them in this present moment. I believe it's like much more ingrained in who that person really is, because their upbringing formulates who they are, which includes their values, their thought process and their beliefs, ultimately culminating into that interaction that you just had with that person in this period of time, in this moment. I'd like to go back to what I stated earlier. Don't judge that book by its cover, because the cover is only the culmination of a person's story and experience, values and these beliefs. As masculine men, it is our job to not take offense and to not be enclosed and label people with names and titles because of their first interactions you had with them. Because of the things that I just stated earlier, and how the cover is not always a reflection of their true pages or the true story behind them. We shouldn't be quick to judge. We shouldn't be labeling, because essentially that is weak. That's a weak mind, and that is someone who's unable to properly process their thoughts into understanding who people are truly when they interact with them. Because if we do, in my opinion, if we do associate people with labels, every time we go and interact with that person again, they're always going to have this title or this hovering name over them that says aggressive, tends to argue, is overly nice, overly kind, and the interactions will never be genuine. So in my opinion, I would say after you have that first interaction with that individual, you want to go home or go in a separate place where you're nice and quiet and say and reflect and just say to yourself, what is that person really like? Is this an accurate reflection of who they really are just by the way they treated me today? This is a very open and beneficial way that you should be approaching meeting new people, especially out in the real world, away from your friends and your family. Because in this world, there is a unique number of individuals with their own unique personality, their own unique upbringing, and their own unique thought patterns and beliefs. So, I will leave you all with this. Go into the world with an open mind. Make accurate reflections on who people are, not by their first interaction with you, but rather by an understanding of why that may be. That's all from me. I hope you got something out of this video, and I'll see you in the next one. Cheers.